Hey everybody, I'm Jason Creel and you're watching the Lawn Care Life. Today I want to give you some lawn care pricing tips. Just from my own experience, my observation, I've got 5 things I want to go through and talk about to help you with your lawn care pricing. Now, let me say this, if you're looking for somebody to say, on this yard you need to charge $54 and on this one you need to charge $63, you know, that's very difficult to do for somebody else in a different market who doesn't understand a lot of your circumstances. So it's hard for somebody to give you an exact number, though there may be some guidelines to help you, but I wanted to give you some tips and some things to consider so that you can more accurately price the lawns in your area for your business. Let's get started with those 5 tips right now. The first tip is to consider your long-term business growth. What is want your business to look like 10 years from now? So for some of you, you may say, Jason, I'm just going to be a solo operator. I don't want to deal with employees, so I don't care if I'm in business for 40 years. I'm just working by myself. Others have a desire to grow and to get multiple operations going, you know, and that's going to change things. Well, here's where that may affect your pricing, or at least something to consider. And in both situations, I think, you know, and I'm always a proponent of having at least market average prices, at least that as a starting point. I just think there's so many things that can hurt your business from a low pricing standpoint. It just becomes very difficult to grow and can hurt your business. A bigger problem than that, me, is just the type of customer that it attracts. When you have low prices, it's just not going to attract the kind of customers you're probably looking for. When I'm talking about your long-term business growth plan, whether you want to be solo or have multiple people, think about this. Think about if you were saying, yeah, Jason, I want to be solo forever. Okay, well, what's the problem with solo and why you need to keep your prices up? If you're solo, you have a limited amount. You're going to be capped off at a certain number. So let's say you're mowing lawns and you're doing this weekly service year-round or whatever people do, and you say, I can only handle 60 lawns at that rate. Or you may be mowing them bi-weekly and say, I can only handle 80 or whatever number you can do. There's still a physical limitation. I mean, you can only work so many hours in the week, and if you're not going to hire anybody, it's just you. I mean, at a certain point, you just can't take on anymore. So if you know that number is capped, why not make that cap a higher price cap? You know, when I want to fill up 40 hours worth of work at $45 per man hour, or when I want to fill it up at $85 per man hour, or $100 per man hour, you know. So if you have a limited number of man hours, which you do if you're solo, then you know, and even if you decide I just want to have me and one other person or something, you're still going to be limited. So that's something to consider. But what if you say, no, Jason, I want to grow and I want to get more and more trucks going, a bigger operation? Well, then the deal with that is your overhead is going to go up. I mean, employees are expensive, more equipment's expensive, and as your overhead goes up, your revenues are probably going up. At least they should be, but your profit margins might actually be going down. Now, you may ultimately make more profit overall. The bottom line may be bigger, but the margins may be smaller because of the increased overhead and the additional expenses you're incurring. So, you know, I think there, how do you afford the increased overhead? If you're starting out solo, you're just like, wow, look, I have very little overhead. I'm running my business from my house, and, you know, I just don't have a lot of debt or to pay off or anything like that. Well, as you begin to hire people, those overhead numbers are going to go up. So you need to prepare for that in the future, you know, early, and know that that's coming, and keep your prices high so that you can, and when I say high, I mean, goodness, you can't just gouge people. You can't just say, I'm going to just double what all my competitors are because I'm so great. I mean, surely everybody will just pay me way more. I mean, that's just not realistic. I'm just saying, you know, again, averaged in your market to slightly above average. You can't just say I'm going to compete on price and go low, because it doesn't make sense as you grow and you have to bring people on. It's going to really affect your ability to do so. The second thing I want you to consider is your competition. And some people might say, oh, I don't worry about my competition. I run my own business and I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I think about this, I like sports. Just thinking about baseball. I saw recently one Major League Baseball team put 9 left-handers in the batting order. I'm not sure if that was the first time that had ever been done. Why they do that? I've got a good feeling there was a right-handed pitcher, so they wanted all left-handers. You know, they considered the competition and they adjusted accordingly. Now, again, you may not sit your best player on the bench just because of whoever's on the other team. I mean, you got to make a plan for your lawn business according to what's going to make you successful, regardless of what. If the competitors all say we're doing lawn care for $1, it doesn't mean you have to say, well, I better do it for $1 as well because that's what my competitor. I'm not saying be super reactionary to what they're doing, but to just be completely unaware is also probably not going to work. If you have, let me give you an example in my area. I'm doing weed control fertilization. My competitors do a really good job for the most part. So I can't just go out there and just say, well, I'm just going to use, you know, cheap products and get mediocre results and think that it's going to work. Because, you know, let's say that all my competitors were sorry. Well, then I could probably do that. Not that I would want to, but I could probably get away with that and still get business. But there's just way too many good options for my customers to go switch to if I don't continue doing a good job. Same thing with pricing. You know, it's like, I can't just say, well, you know, I'm obviously the greatest show in town, so I'm going to charge, you know, 25% more than everybody else. If there's a lot of other great people out there doing what you do for a more reasonable price, then you might have a hard time commanding that. So I do think we have to be aware of competitors. I don't think we let competitors drive our numbers for us or make us make decisions, or but I mean, they are competitors and I'm trying to get a competitive advantage over them. So to be completely oblivious to what's going on is not smart, in my opinion. The third tip I want you to consider is consider the neighborhoods you're targeting. And here's what I mean by that. Let's say that you get a call and it's in a neighborhood that's way out of the way, and just by the looks at it, you can tell not many people are paying for lawn service in that area. Now, somebody might say, oh, not many people are paying for lawn service in that area. What a golden opportunity. You've got a wide open market there. That's usually not the case. If they're not paying for lawn service, there's usually a reason for that, and it's going to be hard to get a lot of them to switch over. So if you get somebody in that neighborhood who wants lawn service, you got to think, truth be told, you're probably not going to have a neighborhood packed full of customers because there's just not a great demand for it in that area. Now, maybe you can. Maybe you can convert 10 of them on the same day and have it well worth your time to go out there. But if you only have one, and you think there's not going to be a great demand in that area, then you need to factor that in. Is it worth my time to drive out here for 1 yard or maybe 2 yards? And if so, do I need to charge them a little bit extra for my time because I'm not going to be able to get a lot of customers in this area? Now, the opposite can be true. Let's say, you know, I'm thinking of a neighborhood in my area that's about 2 miles down the road from my house, and there are lots of houses and extremely high demand for lawn services, and they continue building more houses. And I expect that my numbers will continue to go up in that neighborhood. I give those people a slight cut in the rate because they're almost perfect yards, flat, small, not many obstacles. The demand is high, and I have very great confidence that I can increase route density in that neighborhood. And you know what? A $45 yard that's in the same neighborhood as 25 other $45 yards looks a lot better than a $45 yard that's out there in the middle of nowhere that you got to drive 20 minutes to and you don't have any other customers around it. So you got to consider that. Is this neighborhood, now it may not be a neighborhood that you got a lot of route density on today, but you got to say, is there potential for that? You know, because some neighborhoods you just go and you're just like, man, I don't know if I'll ever get another yard. I had a customer recently, or a former customer, and he wanted me to take his yard back, and I just said, man, I'm sorry, I don't think I can. I don't have any yards in that area, and it was a very low price, and it's like, it's just, honestly, I mean, it's just not worth driving over there. I don't know if I told him in that exact words, but it's just not. I mean, you're just not gonna make any money. So, and you don't want to triple the price on them. Say, well, for this number, it'll be worth my while, you know. So, anyway, you gotta understand those things. The fourth thing I want to mention is to consider your price increase strategy. So, I see this happen a lot of times, and customers talk to me about this. But sometimes a business will come in and they'll have a low price, and they know when they give them that low price that they're definitely going up on the price the next year. If that's your strategy, I don't think there's anything immoral about that. That's not usually the way I approach it. I try to price it right on the first time, and I'm not saying there won't be a need for a price increase at some point. There may well be, but I don't go in saying, I'm gonna intentionally price this 10% low to get the job. Next year I'll go up the 10% to get it back where it should be. Again, I don't think it's necessarily wrong. I think it's not exactly being fully upfront with the customer. It's not the strategy I take. I think you might even, if you want to do that strategy, I think it might be well respected to even tell the customer that. And I think some of them would go for that. You say, hey, listen, the first year, I understand it's hard making a decision, but I tell you what I'm going to do. This first year, I'm going to do it for 10% less, and you know, you'll see the quality of my services, and then next year I'm just letting you know that I'm going to mark it up 10% to get you back at the standard rate. And I don't think that would be a bad strategy. I haven't personally tried that either, but I try to just price it right. But you need to understand what your price increase strategy is, because that's going to affect you. You know, if you know you're going to go up, if you know you're not going to go up, or if you know you don't like going up on prices at all, it makes you very uncomfortable. If you know that you don't mind it and you go up on people every single year. So just understand you as a business owner and your personality and way your strategies for price increases, because that's going to help you know how to price it from the beginning. And the last thing, and this is consider your business strategy. What I mean by this, let me expound to keep from being redundant, but the idea is on your business strategy, are you going to go after volume? Like you might say, well, I want to, like I'm doing weed control and fertilization. Let's say I want 5,000 customers in the next 10 years. Now, I personally don't, but if you said that was your strategy and you wanted to get there quickly, and then you may say, I'm willing to accept a little bit lower price because I know my route density is going to just take over the city. I mean, we're not going to drive more than 2 minutes from one house to the next. And I'm gonna have 5,000 houses. I'm gonna have this juggernaut of a business. If that's not your strategy, you may have a strategy that say, again, I'm gonna use weed control as an example, or I'll use a mowing example as well, but let's say that I wanted to be, I'm only appealing to the top of the line customers who are willing to pay premium price. Then I'm saying, I'm coming out once a month, I charge a high price, but I'm taking care of everything. You're not gonna have to worry about. We're doing insecticides, fungicides, you know, premium fertilizers, herbicides, and it's gonna look perfect. And I know that at my prices that a lot of people cannot afford me, but I don't care, because I'm only targeting a specific higher end clientele. That's okay if you know that's your plan. Now, from a mowing standpoint, what would that look like? You'll be like, I'm one here in the South, some people can mow year round, or maybe up north you do mowing and then you go into snow plowing, you kind of bundle that in. I'm not sure if that can be done, because just sometimes the snow is unpredictable. But if let's say that you know it's going to be year round, and you say, again, I'm charging a high price, we're taking care of your shrubs, we're doing your chemical applications, we're doing the mowing weekly, we're doing all your leaf cleanup, we're doing everything. And yes, it's a high price, and we know that the regular average Joe just wants their lawn mowed every now and then, they are not going to be able to afford us. If that's your strategy, that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. You just got to understand it. You can't offer the world to a customer and charge a low rate. That obviously doesn't work, and it's just going to put you out of business most likely, or you're just going to be working yourself like crazy. But if you know that, hey, I want to go the opposite route. I just want to offer basic mow and blow and just get out of there and have a lower price, and that's going to, then understand that you're probably not going to be appealing to that high-end customer who wants everything done perfect. Matter of fact, you shouldn't go after them at all, because you're most likely not going to be able to satisfy them with your current business model. But your model can also work. You just gotta understand the numbers and understand the pricing behind that, and you might base your whole business on efficiency. We're just kind of a mow and blow kind of company, but we do a lot of lawns. We're very efficient. We keep them in a tight geographic area, and that works for us as a business. So if you understand, again, your business strategy, then it's going to help you understand your pricing. These are 5 tips on pricing. Obviously, this is not everything you need to know to price your lawns, and it's going to vary from region to region. But hopefully it's been helpful. If you got something to add or comment in below, I'd love to hear from you. I would encourage you to subscribe to the channel. I'd also encourage you, if you're in the lawn care business, go over to lawncarelife.com. There's some resources available for you there. Thanks for watching. I'm Jason Creel. I'll talk to you later. See ya. Bye.